Time auto-dialed text message from this station.
On October 12, 2022, Nuri Martinez resigned from the Los Angeles City Council. This came a few days after the world heard Nuri and other elected members of the council speak disparagingly about black people, indigenous people, and others.
This white guy with this little black kid bouncing off the effing walls on the floor. There's nothing you can
And what participants believed was a private conversation, racism, colorism, homophobia, and bigotry were exposed like never before. The effort to undermine the political influence of black fellow citizens was specifically targeted by these so-called leaders. Everyday people stormed the doors of City Hall demanding immediate resignations. Even the President of the United States called for resignations. On Thursday, October 12th, 5 to 7 p.m., KBLA Talk 1580 will host a day of dialogue on the anatomy of anti-black racism and bigotry in Los Angeles with an all-star panel of civic leaders. Don't miss this conversation. Thursday, October 12th, live from 5 to 7 p.m. with an encore performance from 7 to 9 p.m. only on KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
Hit it! Na 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 na. Na 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 na. Here come the hot stepper. I'm the lyrical gangster. Big up the crew in the area. Still love it like that. No, we don't die. Yes, we multiply. Anyone press will hear the fat lady sing. Act like you know Rico. I know what Bo don't know. Touch them up and go. Oh, cha-cha-ching-ching. Here come the hot stepper.
Welcome in. You are locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. I hope you're relaxed. I hope you are ready for a different type of conversation. I know that you got your fill with the tape 1 year later. You got educated. You found out some things maybe you weren't aware of, got a little bit of knowledge. That's what we do here at KBLA Talk 1580. I am your host, Jill Munroe, and this is the show where we hit all the trending topics across entertainment, lifestyle, sports, and culture. So I hope your Monday evening is going great. I hope you're relaxed. I hope you had an amazing weekend. But we are here to get into some things on the entertainment tip tonight. So before we get into everything tonight, of course, I have to give you a rundown. Shout out to Andy coming in with Ini Kamosi, the hot stepper. You know what I'm saying? That's how we're stepping into Monday with the heat. It's his birthday. He's a Libra. Shout out. We got a lot of Libra connections going on here. Libra gang, Andy, Robin Ayers, Ini Kamosi, T.I., Snoop, Nick Cannon. Listen, it's a long list of Libras. Kevin Durant. We're going to be talking about KD later because, you know, he's up here in the mix. George, listen, the list is long, lengthy. You know, Will Smith. I think he's a September Libra, though. You know. I got my theories about that. At any rate, like I said, this is a show where we hit the trending topics and headlines across entertainment, sports, lifestyle, and culture. Tonight, we have a show for you. We're going to get into Gabrielle Union. She discussed how waiting to have her daughter, Kavia James, in her 40s was the best thing that she could have done for her daughter because that way she was healed and wouldn't be passing along generational trauma. So we're going to get into that. We're going to talk about Kayla Nicole. She's finally spoken out. You know, she's Travis Kelce's ex. People have been waiting for her to weigh in on the Travis Taylor mania. She's been attacked by the Swifties, some racist rants. So she finally responded. So we will get into that. You know, we're going to get into all the drama surrounding Drake. Drake released For All the Dogs on Friday at 6 a.m. There's been varying opinions about the album. Some say it's mid. Some say it's his worst. Some say he needs to grow up. And Drake was having none of it. He was on social media clapping back. And so there was a little back and forth. There's been some commentary. We're going to get into all of that. And his announcement that after this album, he's going to be taking a break for a while. And, you know, judging by everything that has gone down in the short time since this album's released, I'd say it might be a good idea. But we're going to talk about that. We're also going to get into Jada Pinkett Smith. She discussed, we know her memoir, Worthy, is coming out in a couple of weeks. And she's sharing excerpts in various places. So she discussed how when she turned 40, she wanted to be on this earth less and less. We'll get into why, what was going on with her, and talk about that. We're also going to get into Mace. You know, he and Cameron have their podcast, It Is What It Is. It's entertaining, hilarious, left to center, so don't go there looking for anything politically correct. But on each episode, Cam has decided that since people don't know a lot about Mace and are curious, he will ask him a question so that people can, you know, find out a little bit more about Mace behind the scenes. And so he asked him what he was doing the night that Biggie was murdered, because he was here in LA. So Mace shared a story, and he also relayed why this incident is when sort of the beginning of the end as far as he and Bad Boy. So we're going to get into that, what he said, and all about that. And of course, more stories. So before we get into that, of course, you know, have a couple of conversation starters for you. Congratulations to 21 Savage. He has officially become a permanent U.S. resident. He may now go overseas for travel and performances. He did his first, well, it's not overseas, but it's out of the country, show last week with Drake in Toronto. You know, they have a collaborative album together, and he's also on tour with him. So shout out to him. He, you know, finally has his situation detained. Now, there'll be some other things that we have to look forward to with him. Probably might take a while. We'll get into that another time, though. But congratulations to him. We also just recently passed the 13th anniversary of the launch of Instagram. Can you believe it? 13 years. I tell you what, that activity tab, that used to get people caught up. Really, if they want more engagement and they want people to stay on the app, secretly, they should bring that back. But they can't because of all the drama that caused. But shout out to Instagram going through its paces. You know, we'll see what the next 13 years has to offer. When we come forward, we'll get into all the trending topics and headlines. You are locked in to RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580.
Infusing a sense of fun and entertainment in every episode. You're listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580. More when we come forward.
A sense of peace, a place to kick back and put down roots, a lasting legacy. However you define home, at City National, we're committed to helping you get there with our City National Ladder Up Home Loan Program. Find the full benefits at cnb.com/ladderuphome. City National Bank, here for our clients and communities. Ladder Up program is available only in select areas. Terms and conditions apply. Not all applicants will qualify. City National Bank is an equal housing lender. Member FDIC. NMLS ID 536994.
At Charmin, we heard you shouldn't talk about going to the bathroom in public, so we decided to sing about it.
Roll Charmin ultra strong when you drop in the beat. It cleans with way less effort on your seat. Yeah, roll it, drop it. Yeah, roll it, drop it. Okay. Charmin flows extra strong from the road. Your butt hella clean while you're sitting on the bowl. Yeah, it's all you need for that bathroom groove. Get you in and out without nothing to prove.
Charmin Ultra Strong cleans better so you can use less. Enjoy the go with Charmin.
What is dedication?
My biggest fear in the middle of my addiction was that my kids wouldn't have a father. And I started thinking, you know what? This isn't my story. I definitely had to become a better man to be a better father. It's important to me that my kids are empowered and truly believe that if they can think it, they can do it.
That's dedication. Visit fatherhood.gov to hear more. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. South Central Youth Empowered Through Action is the youth component of the impactful CBO, known as the Community Coalition. South Central Youth Empowered Through Action has chapters at almost every South LA high school. Say Yeah, as they are popularly known, is located at 80th and Vermont, but serves young people all over South LA. Under the COCO umbrella, they train youth organizers, help underserved scholars prepare for college, and work with students to help them gain admission to top universities. South Central Youth Empowered Through Action fosters teen activism, where young people have led campaigns moving tens of millions of dollars to South LA schools and forcing officials to make AP classes available to students in under-resourced institutions. SCEL scholars have taken part in the March on Washington, been published in major news outlets, and been elected to city council. Long before she was mayor, Karen Bass started the program when she founded the Community Coalition. To donate, volunteer, or enroll a student in South Central Youth Empowered Through Action, please visit cocsouthla.org. cocsouthla.org. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Keeping you informed, entertained, and always ahead of the curve. This is RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
Welcome. You are locked in to RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. Now, before we get into these headlines and trending topics, I would be out of sorts if I did not tell you how you can catch up with us. Of course, you need to follow us on all social media. It's KBLA 1580 everywhere. Hit me up at Stiletto Jill everywhere. Let me know. Give me feedback. Let me know what you think about the show, or if there's something you want us to cover. I'm very responsive in DMs. You can ask some of the other listeners. They've sent me stuff before. Also, if you want to call in, 800-920-1580. If you have a comment on any of these stories tonight, we love to hear from you. And, of course, download the app. That way you can take us with you on the go. You can listen when you have time. You can even leave a message if you feel so inclined. Now that we have all of that business out of the way, I have to share a story with you guys. So this weekend was CultureCon, right? And Issa Rae was the keynote speaker. The event was sponsored by American Express, and there was an executive from American Express that was there to interview Issa Rae. This was on Saturday, right? And so her name is Glenda McNeil. And so in her intro, she said, "You guys know a lot about Issa Rae." Issa, not Issa, Issa. And the audience immediately interrupted Miss Glenda when correcting her pronunciation, letting her know, it's Issa, boo. Don't mess that up. It's Issa. And McNeil corrected herself. Issa Rae didn't say a word. She just laughed and sat there. And the crowd was like shouting at her. And this is the part that I didn't like. So this is a white woman. And granted, she's not a journalist. But I do believe, and this is coming from someone, you guys know, I will mess up a name. I'll mess up a name. But I'm honest about it, right? But if I'm doing a keynote event, baby, that thing is going to be written across a note card phonetically. Not going to do that. And the woman's response was very flippant. This is what she said. Again, she's a white woman. She was like, it's okay. People make mistakes. Relax. I'm part of the culture, honey. It's okay. And you, what does that mean? What does that mean? I'm part of the culture. And here's my thing. She phonetically looked like a white woman. She might be mixed. She might be biracial. She might have something in her family. Her great-grandfather might have been black. So I don't know, but saying I'm part of the culture, I'm not really sure what that means. I don't know if that was the best approach. But the event was about Issa Rae and her mentoring and working with creatives of color. And, it just was a moment. But shout out to the fans, because they were not playing any games as far as Issa Rae is concerned. The YouTube chat is already going up. Tony Yayo in there is just curious. Do you care about the Dodgers in the same capacity that you care about the Lakers? Listen, I am an LA girl, born and raised. So I do care about the Dodgers. Very excited when they won the World Series a few years back. I keep up with it. But if I'm being honest, I'm not a baseball fan like that. I'll catch a game. I might check it out or two, but it's not my sport. Here's the thing. I think that I am like a lot of black people, which is kind of a shame because baseball was really a thing. I remember being a small kid and Reggie Jackson was Mr. October and people were so excited about him. I remember the hysteria over Fernando Valenzuela when he was pitching for the Dodgers, when he came over, and it was like madness. So I feel as black kids got kind of cycled out of baseball in the inner city, I think some of the outside fans went with them as well. I know they've done things to speed up the game and make it more interesting, but I'm not someone that's going to sit down for the most part and watch a baseball game. I may catch a game here or there during the season. If the Dodgers are in the playoffs right now, so I'll check it out there, but shady. Andy?
Well, the reality is, you said it yourself, we like basketball, we like football a little bit more. I think at the same time, when you think about growing up or whatnot, you know what I'm saying? Like when you go to the park, you see a whole bunch of grass. So it's kind of easy to maybe, grab some of your friends, play football. You see basketball courts everywhere.
You could play by yourself.
You could play by yourself. Not many of us playing baseball, but, to the Dodgers point or whatnot, Mookie Betts, I want to say, was it last year?
Shout out to Mookie, yeah.
Was it last year? I think
that he got the MVP?
No, but during the All-Star game, he had wore a T-shirt basically kind of saying, right, like, where's the black people, y'all need to go ahead and support or whatnot. Yeah, people are just not fans of the game, to your point, because I'm the same way.
I mean, what I think it started when the shift in baseball shifted from inner city and baseball camps. Because you got to think, I grew up, people like Darryl Strawberry. What's the guy that had the blue? Eric. What is Eric's last name? He's from L.A. Baseball player. I'm blanking. Eric Davis. Shout out to him. The other guy played for, I think, the Angels, married to Desiree Coleman. Long time. Gary Sheffield, right? I'm running it down. So here's the thing. I definitely watched at a time, but I also think, and this is something when I worked at Nike, we discussed, when the focus as far as spend for Major League Baseball moved from the inner city or whatever. Baseball is an expensive sport. There's traveling teams, there's equipment. To your point, Andy, it's not really a sport you could play by yourself. You know what I mean? You can't. How do you practice by yourself? You can, but it's expensive. There's trainers, all of these things that cost for those travel teams. And I think black kids just got priced out, and it was easier to go play football, to go play basketball. And then, as the sports expanded, we weren't there. There were camps that were being placed overseas and things like that. And that is where the focus was, I feel like. And so for a large portion of it, black kids were priced out, moved out of the way. So they put their focus in other sports.
It's interesting you mentioned the whole priced out thing. I think for me, it's more representation. I think about the names that you just mentioned, right? The Gary Sheffields, the Darryl Strawberries, what was it, Eric Reed or whatever?
Eric Davis,
excuse me. You don't see them in the league. I mean, you see a Mookie Betts, but not many. You see a lot of Vladimir Guerreros, Big Poppies.
Because they
you know what I'm saying?
invest in those places overseas, and that's where they get those players, and they can get them here for cheaper. Their contracts are cheaper, and they invest over there. I mean, that is the reality of it. How many kids do you know that are going to play baseball? How many kids do you know that are watching? Not many. It's
exactly.
It's a hard thing, and I would like for more of us to be, because that money is crazy. Get dough.
It definitely is.
And they have the most amount of leisure time if you think about the professional sports. More games on the road, more times in the cities, but the money is out of there.
The money's impeccable. But it's also, it's not really exciting until somebody actually hits a home run. And I think that also plays a factor too, man. We like the flash. You know what I'm saying? We like to see somebody get dunked on, crossed up, somebody
Exactly.
getting juked, somebody getting hit.
I feel like there was that in baseball when they would hit those home runs and their gold chains would be swinging and stuff like that.
Do you see that now?
But no,
though?
it's not now. They took away the bat flip. The bat flip had some flavor. Let that bat flip fly. People talk a lot of stuff. This is controversial a little bit about the steroid era. But it was exciting.
It was very
and
much
the fans
so
were
exciting.
watching.
I was going to say that probably was like the last time I found myself watching maybe an average baseball game. Barry Bonds, and even before him, even the Sammy Sosa, Mark McGwire situation, that was dope. That was a dope time during baseball. And even before that, I'm going to go ahead and say Ken Griffey Jr.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
He had me tapped in
How
from
can we
time to
forget?
time, but you don't have players like that in the league right now.
Listen, and I don't know what it's going to take to change it because it's going to start. Also, the path to baseball is a lot longer and a lot different. You don't go to college and automatically get drafted like that. You get drafted, you're going AAA, you're in some small little city making no money before you get called up to the major leagues. People don't want to wait for that.
Sounds like whoever works in the Dodgers community department needs to come to the hood.
They do. But I don't know how many Latino neighborhoods they're invested in. I don't know if it is a part of the initiative to reach back for black kids. And I'm not saying they don't. I'm just saying I don't know if they do.
And I guess I get it from a business standpoint because do we show up to the games?
Here's the thing. I feel we might.
Not enough of us.
Not enough, no. So Tony Yayo in the chat says guaranteed money for baseball, and they have the strongest union, but it's a struggle to make the league. Yeah. Urban Spinster says she's going back to the story about the American Express executive mispronouncing Issa's name. She said, "I cannot stand when people mispronounce my name, especially when they're asking me how to say it and they're still giving their own answer instead of waiting for my response." Yo, I'm going to be honest. Sometimes it's hard and sometimes it's not on purpose, but your name is your name. And what I do believe is you get that right. You respect it. Even if you got to run it back a couple of times in your mind silently. Like I said, write it out phonetically, but get someone's name right because your name is it says a lot for you. I think it's a respect thing. Michael Knight commenting on the topic of the hour about Gabrielle Union, not passing trauma, but advocating a 10-year-old boy to be a girl. Well, Zaya is older than that. And we can talk about that at another time. Tony Yayo also says MLB teams milk the best years of players that are arbitration eligible. The MLB is a complicated league. I'm not going to say that I know great detail about it, but I do know that, there's a lot of money in it. And I think that really, if there was a way, AAU is expensive now. You know what I mean? But it's also wearing kids out. And I've talked about this before. I think if kids could play a multitude of sports again, if they could, baseball, basketball, football, maybe a little soccer or track, I think it would make them better athletes overall. And I also think that it would help with some of the burnout and some of the early injuries that we're seeing. Players play a lot of hoops right now. Oh, by the way, shout out to the Lakers. I know it's only preseason, but they won tonight against the Brooklyn Nets, so we'll take it. It was in Vegas. Speaking of, Vegas was the place to be this weekend. Game 1 of the WNBA Finals. These are two legacy franchises that are involved. The Las Vegas Aces, they ball out. And the New York Liberty. The Aces took Game 1. And, it was a packed house. Courtside was Tom Brady. He's a partial owner. LeBron James was there. And LeBron said that he would like to be a part. This is no secret. We've been talking about this. If you've listened to the show, we've mentioned it. But I didn't think he would say it publicly yet. LeBron said he would like to be part of the group that brings an NBA expansion franchise to Las Vegas. So book it. When LeBron retires, we already know LeBron's going to own the team that goes to Vegas. locking in what I said. Vegas is going to be the live sports entertainment capital of North America, at least temporarily. And it's going to be glorious. Andy?
Isn't it already is?
It is. It is. F1 is there. We've talked about, the Aces are a winning team. They've won titles. So have the NHL's Golden Knights. What else is there? I don't know about the soccer team that's there. Raiders, good luck, y'all. But
they won today.
They did. However,
even though he missed that field goal.
Listen, I didn't even see the game, so I can't comment on it. I ain't even checked. I just saw the score. You know what my concern was? The Lakers won. So, and also LeBron wanted to get it straight of the week because every Sunday he's decided that he wants to give his picks on Instagram for the football thing.
I love it.
You love it?
I love it.
I think it's so interesting. I also think that, to me, I've talked about this for a long time. Where sports, as far as sports media is moving, you're going to see an influx, a lot more of sports picks, betting picks, things like that. You've already seen these shows creep up. Expect a whole lot more. And I kind of feel like low-key, that has something to do with what LeBron's doing, But I also think he's just trying to showcase and connect. But he wanted to make it clear he is not a Cowboys fan, okay? I know he used to be, but he is not a Cowboys fan anymore. Cowboys fans, how you feeling? I can't talk much. The Rams lost to the Eagles this weekend, but Cowboys fans, you guys okay? I don't know. You okay? I'm just asking. Anyway, that's not what we're here to talk about. Listen, we are going to break down Gabrielle Union's comments because I think that one thing about the comments, and I know some people feel like Gabby overshares, but I think that's the point. People have spent years discussing and dissecting her relationship with D. Wade. So what is the problem when she, shares her opinion of her and corrects or adds on to some of the thoughts, misconceptions, realities, whatever you want to say. But I think it's an important lesson that she said about motherhood and about waiting for when you're ready. And especially when you consider all the things that Gabby went through to become pregnant and have her daughter, I thought it was very poignant. So we're going to get into that conversation on the other side. But before we do, because it's a good one. Also, side note, is LeBron clout chasing? He tweeted a couple of days ago that he would like to get an invite to Travis and Jason Kelce's podcast show. He's like, crazy, I can't get an invite to join your fantastic show. Is it because you guys are truly the king of Northeast Ohio and I claim to be? Be honest. Bron, now you doing podcast appearances? What's going on? You weren't thinking about joining the Kelce's podcast before Taylor Swift Mania. I see you. You're not slick. But I'm not mad at that. When we come forward, we will get into Gabrielle Union and her comments about generational trauma. But on the other side, news and sports. You're locked in to RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580.
RSVP with Jill Munroe is your go-to show for staying in the know. More engaging conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Esther Dillard, and here's the latest from the Black Information Network. In Washington, D.C., a vote to fill the House speakership is set for later this week. 2 candidates have stepped up. The vote could happen as soon as Wednesday, after 2 days of debate and meetings. Meantime, House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries says Congress needs to work together to be ready to act on any requests for additional aid to Israel after Saturday's attack by Hamas. Speaking on CNN's State of the Union, the Black New York Democrat said his party has made it clear it's ready, willing, and able to work across the aisle. And former Speaker Kevin McCarthy is urging President Biden to refreeze $6 billion in Iranian funds. He blamed the White House for its prisoner swap with Iran and decision to unfreeze the money in exchange for freeing 5 wrongfully detained Americans. And that's the latest. I'm Esther Dillard from the Black Information Network and BINnews.com.
Hey, if you're thinking of getting the latest iPhone, you need to stop and check out the amazing wireless offer from Boost Infinite. For more, just pick up your phone and dial pound 250 and say Boost Infinite. That's pound 250 and Boost Infinite. You'll have the option to receive a one-time auto-dialed text message from this station.
On October 12, 2022, Nuri Martinez resigned from the Los Angeles City Council. This came a few days after the world heard Nuri and other elected members of the council speak disparagingly about black people, indigenous people, and others.
This white guy with this little black kid bouncing off the effing walls on the floor. There's nothing you can
And what participants believed was a private conversation. Racism, colorism, homophobia, and bigotry were exposed like never before. The effort to undermine the political influence of black fellow citizens was specifically targeted by these so-called leaders. Everyday people stormed the doors of City Hall demanding immediate resignations. Even the President of the United States called for resignations. On Thursday, October 12th, 5 to 7 p.m., KBLA Talk 1580 will host a day of dialogue on the anatomy of anti-black racism and bigotry in Los Angeles with an all-star panel of civic leaders. Don't miss this conversation. Thursday, October 12th, live from 5 to 7 p.m. with an encore performance from 7 to 9 p.m. only on KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
The Chase Ink Business Premier Card is made for people who make things happen, like me. I'm Sam, founder and CEO of Manifest, a product design company that makes everyday products designed smarter. I get 2.5% cash back on purchases of $5,000 or more, plus unlimited 2% cash back on all other purchases, which helps us make more smart ideas into a brilliant reality.
The Ink Business Premier Card. Learn more at chase.com/business premier. Chase for business. Make more of what's yours. Real business owner compensated for their participation. Account subject to credit approval. Restrictions and limitations apply. Cards are issued by JPMorgan Chase Bank, NA member FDIC.
Now. We tend not to think about now. We dream about tomorrow, relive yesterday. But right now in front of us is victory over cancer. Right now, cancer research funded by the V Foundation is leading to better treatments and saving lives. Victory over cancer is there for the taking by you, because today's cancer research is tomorrow's victory. Learn more at v.org.
Don't give up. Don't ever give up.
If you're like me, 60 and retired, making ends meet, especially here at the supermarket and drugstore, is tough. I'm so blessed to have found benefitscheckup.org. It's a free and confidential website from the National Council on Aging that connected me to $1,200 a year in programs that help pay for food, medicine, utilities, and more. Maybe it can help you. benefitscheckup.org.
Anyone can choose to make a difference. You can help people succeed, rebuild after disasters, protect the environment, or feed the hungry. Not only will you make a difference for others, but for yourself. You can earn money for college, learn career skills, and make friendships that last a lifetime. Make a difference. Choose your future. Choose America.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 joins you in standing for voting rights. When We All Vote is a leading national nonpartisan initiative on a mission to change the culture around voting and to increase participation in each and every election by helping to close the race and age gap. Created by Michelle Obama, When We All Vote brings together individuals, institutions, brands, and organizations to register new voters across the country and advance civic education for the entire family and voters of every age to build an informed and engaged electorate for today and generations to come. When We All Vote empowers their supporters and volunteers to take action through voting, advocating for their rights, and holding their elected officials accountable. Please visit whenweallvote.org to stand up for your rights, voting rights. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA Talk 1580. Curating the most compelling stories and delivering them straight to your ears. You're listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
If I ever took a loss, I learned a lesson. I won't ever think I'm better than the next man. I've been down before to come up, I ain't stressing. Baby, I'm too busy counting all these blessings.
Count it up. Line 'em up. Swear the sun shining on me, get my heart up, no matter that trouble surrounding us. They don't see that it's a lot of us. Everybody move anonymous. Won't take that credit, I know what we get it. Them blessings be coming from God above. I was doing all kind
Welcome
of bad.
back in. You are locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. Thank you for rocking with me. Thank you for clocking in. Remember, if you have a comment on anything that we're discussing here, feel free to hit us up, 800-920-1580. So we're going to get into Gabrielle Union. You know, she had her daughter, she and Dwyane Wade had their daughter, Kavia James, via surrogate almost 5 years ago. And last week, she took to Instagram. She shared this with her 21 million followers on Instagram. She said that she often gets asked if having a child late in her 40s was worth it. And she explained that there's a lot that goes into that answer. But in a nutshell, heck yeah, I'm using heck. It's been worth it. It's changed my life in so many wondrous ways. You know, she said having a baby older was a blessing, that there are moments when she wished she had done it sooner simply to have more time with her daughter. But she says that it would have been unfair to baby girl because she was unhealed for her trauma and she wasn't fully repaired until she reached her 40s. She said, I became a mom at the right time because I was healed and I had committed to healing eternally. So I didn't pass all that generational trauma on to Kav. She also said that if she had had Kavia even 1 year earlier than she did, I would have passed along way too many traumatic things to my child. I wasn't in a place to take care of myself, much less our little miracles. So for me, it's absolutely worth it. She also said, it's the best thing that has ever happened to me. So I felt that one, you know, you feel nothing but excitement and bliss for Gabrielle when you hear about everything that she went through in order to conceive her child and how much it meant for her and Dwyane. But also, there is some peace that comes when you get to your 40s. You do have a different perspective on life. You are, hopefully, fully stepping in to who you are as an individual, man or woman. Not saying that you don't earlier, but I think, you know, obviously with each level you acquire something new. It's more experience, more knowledge, more, and you continue to grow and develop. And I think that, you know, Gabrielle has talked about her trauma that she had from her sexual assault, some of the things she did to heal that herself before she went into therapy. And I think we hear a lot of conversation. We even talked about this a couple of weeks ago here on the show when we were having the conversation about who is allowed to give Black women advice. And there was commentary that, you know, someone said their mothers, and Trent, who was here, said not their mothers, because their mothers are passing along their bad habits, bad views, bad perceptions of relationships and men and romance down to their daughters. And that is the case for some of the women. And they're doing that because they're unhealed. They haven't unlearned whatever they learned to put them in that position. They don't know any other way. So it does create a vicious cycle. You know, there are some people that speak about the competition that can happen between some mothers and daughters that can also shape how they think and how they develop. Offhand, I can think about when Lisa Ray and her mother were featured on Fix My Life with Miss Van Sant, because I know, but we're not doing that tonight. And you know why we aren't doing that tonight? I knew this time. I thought about it. I played it back in my head. But I was like, let me not do it tonight just in case, because I overthought it.
Yan.
La.
Now say it real fast.
Iyanla.
Bam, you got it.
I know. But that's the thing. Because I had just had the conversation about what happened with Issa Rae, I was in my head. So I was like, oh no, I know that I have it, but I'm going to mess this up because I'm overthinking it. So we're just going to skip over that part. But shout out to Andy for always having my back and holding me down. But back to that Fix My Life episode, they were in discussion about how, Lisa Ray's mom almost viewed her daughter as competition for her father's attention and affection. So, that's just one example. And Lisa Ray and her mother built up a sort of, difficult relationship in moments. And so that's just one example that I could think of. But I say kudos to Gabrielle for recognizing that. And just like any relationship, mother and daughter relationships can be difficult. They can be delicate. And so her recognizing that being whole and fulfilled would be better for her daughter and would bring her daughter forth is amazing. Plus, we know the statistics in some ways. Older parents have more stability to offer. And obviously, we know Gabrielle and Dwyane are wealthy. So they would have been able to take on the challenge earlier. But there is something to be said about mindset and being in a place where you're ready to be a parent. And you have more patience naturally as you age, perhaps. I know that, and we saw it in the comments, that there are comments and thoughts in reference to what they do with their other children, specifically Zaya. But I mean, I think part of being a good parent is supporting your child and walking with them through that journey. And that's all I'll say on that. That's a touchy subject. Speaking of, ironically enough, on the flip side, and Andy, I don't know, I may not have sent you this clip. Did I send you the April Jones clip? Okay. So April Jones is an interesting young lady to me, former reality star, actress, maybe formerly, I think, Taye Diggs' fiance, formerly with Omarion. And, their children are very mature. We talked a couple of weeks ago about a live that April had with their son, Mega, and he was discussing where Taye was and if Taye was doing weed or edibles or something like that. There was a lot of comments about that. Well, April shared that this same child, Mega, had a little situation in school that almost got him put out of school because he shared some thoughts regarding Zaya Wade. Now, we're going to play April's live and what she said, but I have some questions for April. I don't get it sometimes, but I know that attention is a drug, and I know as a reality TV star that social currency is so important. But sometimes, I just want to know what the end goal is. Why are you setting your child up in this way? Why are you setting yourself up in this way? Andy?
I know you're going this way, right? With her son.
Uh-huh.
But also, on topic with her, social media presence, right? And, her relationship or former relationship with Taye Diggs. It's kind of bothersome because in a lot of ways they looked great together, right?
They really did.
And it really looked as if like they were really happy with each other. And
I thought it was good for her. To your point, she seemed to settle in a little more. They looked like they really enjoyed each other's company, had a lot of fun.
Absolutely. They were like goofballs with each other. It looked beautiful. And then all of a sudden it's like nowhere to be found. It got me thinking, some people feel like, celebrities show too much. You know what I mean? I don't know. I don't know if I should be feeling some kind of way. Like, is it wrong for her to, when you're dating and, you're sharing pictures and stuff like that, I think it's a cool thing. But I don't know. I guess it kind of sucks to see that, they're not together no more.
And we don't know what happened because y'all let us all up in the group chat before. And I'm going to keep saying that. Do you know what I mean? Y'all let us very much in the group chat. We were a part of, we saw what we thought the relationship take shape. We were invited in for holidays. We saw lots of inside jokes. We saw dance routine. We saw choreography. We saw theater. And then it's just no more. And again, I understand you are allowed privacy. You are allowed to move inside your relationship however you see fit. And you may be dealing with some things that you aren't ready to share. And I feel like at some point, April will share something. Maybe she learned a little bit from her past experiences and won't share it all. But I don't know. I want to know.
Her son was definitely in the group chat for sure.
Oh, Mega is always in the group chat. We'll get into that on the other side. You are locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580.
Trending topics and the hottest happenings. You're listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
Joey from Vermont, a farmer trying to get through the winter. Adriana from South Carolina, a single mother living paycheck to paycheck. Liam from Ohio, an injured father struggling to provide for his family. Hi, I'm Shanola Hampton, and I support the Feeding America network of food banks because they help provide over 6 billion meals to people in need each year. Learn more at feedingamerica.org.
Heart failure, carpal tunnel syndrome, shortness of breath, stomach issues, lower back pain. How does it all add up? If you have heart failure and any of those seemingly unrelated symptoms sound familiar, it's time to talk with your cardiologist and get the full picture. They may add up to transthyretin amyloid cardiomyopathy. ATTR-CM is a rare and underdiagnosed disease. Recognize the signs and discuss them with your doctor soon. Learn more at connectwithyourheart.com. That's connectwithyourheart.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
We're celebrating 1 year of the K. From checking out the vibrant art and diverse dining in Leimert Park to cheering on your favorite team in Inglewood, you can choose your own adventure when you ride the Metro K-Line. Leave the car at home and go Metro. Visit metro.net/K-Line.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 reminding you that we keep us safe. The Center for the Pacific Asian Family was founded to help address domestic violence and sexual assault in the Asian and the Pacific Islander communities. The Center for the Pacific Asian Family's mission is to build healthy and safe communities by addressing the root causes and consequences of family violence and violence against women. They are committed to meeting the specific cultural and language needs of the Asian and Pacific Islander women and their families. CPAF's vision is of an Asian and Pacific Islander community that embraces healthy relationships and works in partnership with other communities to eradicate all forms of violence. To access services, volunteer, or for more info, visit nurturingchange.org. At KBLA Talk 1580, we believe everyone deserves to be safe. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Now back to more captivating conversation on RSVP with Jill Munroe.
You're locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. Now, we were just talking about how attention is a drug. Shout out to April Jones. And this is my thing, right? Kids do speak on things very honestly. Sometimes they don't have a filter. That can be good and bad, right? But listen, you don't necessarily have to share that with all of your followers. I understand you want to be free. You want to be transparent. You want to have these conversations. I feel you. I'm not mad at it. I just want to know sometimes what the end goal is. Why are you putting your son in the line of fire for that? Right? Why do you feel the need to share this little thing? So we're going to play the clip. I'll let you decide how you feel about it. And of course, we'll get into more.
You want to know, Mega called me today, right? I'll tell him, like, he goes, Mom. I said, what? He goes, I'm about to get kicked out of school. I said, Mega, why? He goes, because Dwyane Wade's son, I hope you guys put this on the line. I really do. I hope you don't. I won't say anything. I'll tell you privately.
Yeah, I was about to say, yeah.
Dwyane Wade, we love you. Yeah, just.
So for me, girl, first you say, I hope you put it on the live. Then you say, nope, no, I think better of it. What are you doing, April? You know how this works. Why are you doing that? And why do you want that smoke for your son, for you? Like, that's totally unnecessary. It does nothing for you, for your brand, or your child, or your baby's father, who you guys seem to be co-parenting really nicely at this moment, right? And I feel like it just puts him also in a complicated position because there's a link there, you know, between their families and so forth. There's a link. There's a friendship link. And I just want to know, girl, you're entitled to your opinion. I'm not saying that. I just want to know why you felt it was important to share on a live about your child.
I think the real issue is her sharing some of her opinions in front of her kids.
That too.
Because how is it that Mega is about to get kicked out of school for saying something? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's
saying?
a very good point.
Where is he even getting
that, yeah,
this perspective or this knowledge from?
Especially, it's not like they're close in age. You know, Mega is probably 9 or 10 years old, something to that degree. Right. Zaya is 16. So it's not like they're classmates. I'm not saying that children aren't aware in the world, that they're not introduced to topics and subjects. But, you know, maybe I'm old fashioned, right? And I know you can't protect kids from everything. And I'm not saying every topic is going to be shielded or even should. Kids develop at different rates. What you do in your home and how you choose to parent your child is your choice. You know your child. There's all different types of parenting styles. However, this just seems like, girl, did you think this through? Like, with whatever happened, but you know you're on live and you know how this works. You know how this works. You beyond know how this works. So I just want to know, why are you being insensitive? It seemed a little insincere to come back with, we love you, Dwyane Wade. Well, you could have shown love by, again, not mentioning that your child had something to say and about his child, and that's why he might be getting the boot. You could have just said, Mega was talking. He might be getting the boot out of school. I'll tell you why later, to whoever the individual she was talking to. Andy?
Man, I don't think she is paying attention. You know, she's just doing what it is that she's doing as a personality per se. But I think there's a deeper conversation that needs to be held, because I saw a friend of mine post something about LAUSD recently, and LAUSD is pretty much planning out for a National Coming Out Day. And I don't know, it was a lot of hoopla on social media, at least on my social media, amongst her and some of her friends who are parents, that this is going to be a big deal, and they're pretty much targeting elementary school kids. You know what I mean? I think we're at a time now where education needs to be had, and I think with Mega right here, this is kind of somewhat of a prime example of there needs to be education, at least, you know, on an institutional level, on, you know, at schools.
I think when I think back, I was about 10 when we had a sex education course in our school. 5th grade, 10. I remember my 5th grade teacher, her name was Mrs. Gorman. Miss Gorman. Actually, I don't believe she was married. Super nice, like very honest, but not, you know, again, this was a different time. This was a very long time ago. So, you know, but it was a conversation to be had. I never had the talk with my parents. My parents were kind of cerebral. We didn't discuss those type of things. But what my mom did when I was about 8 or 9 years old, we were in Savon's drugstore. And by the pharmacy, there were these books. And I will never forget, there was this book called From 9 to 12-Year-Olds. And it taught you male and female, your body going through puberty, what happens on your cycle,
At
what happens. at Save-On's by the pharmacy, and it was called From 9 to 12 years old. It had like little illustration breakdowns. It told you about the sperm, the egg, the fallopian tubes, and all of these things. And she bought that book from me and was like, here. And that was basically my sex education. I don't ever recall any real conversations, any deep things. Here's the book. Here's all the information you need. And that book was very important to me because it gave me all the information from, a medical perspective, from knowing what to expect from your body, kind of knowing what happens in pregnancy and sex. And again, I was about 8 or 9 years old, right? I remember they used to say on TV a lot, oh, they slept together or they laid together. I didn't know what that meant initially. I thought that it meant that they literally laid together and that was how people got pregnant and things like that. So it was important. And I think that the classes and the way that the teacher handled it, again, this is back in the day, was important. I think it's necessary. And even more so now. And I know people are resistant to it, but if you're targeting elementary school kids for coming out, that seems very early to me. Not for them to have the education or the language around what's happening, but encouraging them to pick one way or another at that age. It seems a bit much to me. And I, as a parent, might have some questions.
I don't think they would be pushing to choose. I think it's more so just understanding.
Allowing the space? Okay.
Allowing the space and just understanding that this exists. And you shouldn't be, like, for example, who knows what Mega said at school? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
He probably said something that was extremely offensive. Now, to these other kids, they probably didn't know what he was talking about. But for somebody like a Zaya Wade, who knows? It could be a Zaya Wade in his class.
True.
You know what I'm saying? And he's saying these things that are very much so offensive. And who knows? Whoever is Zaya Wade in this class might be afraid. This is why this is important.
But I do think the conversations need to be had in some type of understanding, because the reality is it's a part of society and it's not going anywhere. Tony Yayo, Save-On's is CVS. Is Save-On's, okay? It used to be called Save-On's back in the day, but now it is CVS, all those bots and mergers. When we come forward, we're going to get into all things Drake, everything Drake with this album release, the beefs, the back and forth, where we're at now, opinions on the album, opinions on Drake's career. We're going to break it down. You are locked in to RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. Stay locked in for hour 2. News and sports up next.
I put my mama in the grips that style stress. I put my girl in a brand new diamond necklace. She said she need more of my love and affection, cause lately I've been working harder than ever. She said, baby, you a boss, baby, clear your schedule.